What's going on, guys? Welcome into another episode of the Ask Tony Show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I have a very special guest today. He is an entrepreneur. He is a community leader, and I've been wanting to talk to him for quite a while. Eddie Lopez. Eddie, thank you so much for joining me, my man.
Of course, man. I'm excited to be here.
It's going to be a great conversation. I've learned a little bit about what you do and how you do it, and I'm super interested because I genuinely feel that you bring something different, and I think that we can relate a lot. Based on our upbringings, based on what we're doing, I feel like we're in a very similar place. So I think that's going to make for some great conversation. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? What are you all about?
So, like I was just telling you, bro, this is my first time on the podcast. So if I'm like
good.
looking at
Just
the
let
camera,
it rip.
I'm an awkward guy naturally. So this is going to be fun. My wife always makes fun of how freaking awkward I am. So
you'll be great.
She's going to have a freaking...
You're going to blow her mind
have a
right
good
now.
time. So yeah, my name's Eddie. I'm actually from Mexico originally. So I was born in Ciudad Obregón, Sonora.
Awesome.
I moved here to the States when I was 6. We moved originally to Utah, and then we went to Reno, Nevada. Moved back to Utah when I was 12. And then I've been here ever since, man.
How'd you like Nevada?
I liked it, dude. But when I think back, I can't. It's crazy to think how ghetto my neighborhood was.
Yeah.
Where I was upbringing, my upbringing.
Utah's different. That's one of the reasons why I love Utah. Because even like the rough patches in Utah, they're not that bad.
No, they're not that bad. They're like super nice suburban.
It's fine.
Yeah,
sure.
But like it, it's crazy because like. Now that I'm a parent, right? Like I would be gone all day playing with my friends in the hood, right? Yeah. And without health insurance, you think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like now that you're,
that's how I grew up too. We would just play outside, and my parents didn't know where I was for like hours.
Yeah.
We would go from one person's house, and now my son is kind of the same way. He likes to play with his friends a lot. But that gives my wife some anxiety of like, where is he? Is he going to get hurt? But that's how we grew up, bro.
Yeah, man. And I think that's the best way to grow up.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly. Been here since I was 12. I'm currently a loan officer for Security National Mortgage.
The loan officer.
The loan officer, guys. I'm the only one at
I'm
the
only
company. No, it's a really cool company. And I started in mortgages June of 2019.
Okay, so you're relatively new.
Yeah,
awesome.
Relatively new, but it's crazy the amount of things you can learn as like in such a short amount of time.
And that's one of the things that I admire about you, because you're relatively new, but you've already started to build something. And for a lot of people, it takes them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, myself included, to actually build something substantial. But you have a team, you have good numbers in a very relatively short period of time. Yeah,
man, I do. And I thank God every day for that. And definitely I have a lot of people to thank, especially my 2 bosses. I actually work for these 2 cats, Manfred, Canfe, Rosner.
Great people.
They're the most...
Shout out, Manfred.
Yeah, shout out to Manfred, Canfe.
Yeah,
they're amazing. Like they changed my life for sure. So I'm definitely grateful for them and the opportunity. But yeah, like I said, I have a team. Thankfully, I have my sister. Her name's Reina. She's amazing, and I have my cousin. His name's Jose. He's amazing too. And man, we're just. I'm a competitive guy, man. So I just want to be, the top dog around here.
I'm the same way. Talk to us a little bit about that family dynamic, because I've talked to entrepreneurs in the past that have family businesses, and sometimes they struggle because there's this, at some point, you got to separate work and family, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're in, high stress situations, you got to get stuff done, or somebody makes a mistake, something. And so a lot of people struggle with that dynamic of, especially if you're their boss, of giving them criticism or constructive criticism, coaching, whatever you want to call it. How do you navigate that when it's your sister and your cousin that are in your office?
Dude, honestly, I'm learning that. I'm learning that right now. Thankfully, they're just really good.
Yeah.
They've been good. Amazing. I have no complaints. But yeah, when it gets down to the constructive criticism, I'm learning that right now, bro. It's
difficult because
very difficult.
It's not the same as a stranger, right? You love you love this person, but sometimes you have to have those conversations.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but I think that it helps that they have a good skill set and that they don't put themselves in those kinds of positions often where you have to correct them.
Yeah.
But it can be tough when you have to have that conversation and sit someone down. It can be difficult if it's your sister or whoever it may be.
No, for sure. And I mean, man, for some reason it's just flown well, and it's flowing well, and hopefully we just keep growing, keep killing it, keep doing well. Like for those that know, you know, that are familiar with the industry and kind of what we do, like we're just closing like everybody like 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
You know,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Really
and it's just like, all right, give us the day of closing. You know, we're closing like everybody about 2 weeks early from that.
What do you attribute that to? What do you think that you do that allows you to do that when other lenders sometimes struggle with that?
So, you know, I did spend a good amount of time as a lender by myself, and I was like, man, we have to do so much as loan officers.
You do, and it's underrated, and a lot of people don't know what goes into it. I was blessed to have a lot of training on that end at my former brokerage, where they let me get into the weeds and do pricing and stuff. So I got way more involved than any other realtor does or is supposed to. So that is absolutely true. You guys do a ton of stuff that people do not see.
Dude, it's a lot.
It is.
And so I was like, man, our focus has to be. So the way our system works is like, I'll take an application, and then after we take that application, my cousin Jose, he does everything to get somebody pre-approved.
Sure.
So he gets the verifications of employment, he gathers all the documents, and so we do a lot of work on the front end. And so then when it goes under contract, my sister, Reina, the only thing she does is processing the loan after it's under contract.
Yeah.
And that takes so much time.
It does.
And that's all she does. And so, you know, those are the places where I feel like you need to focus on in order to close your stuff on time and in order to give out good pre-approvals.
I agree. And I feel like you guys are very strong with those pre-approvals, which again is something that a lot of people don't understand if you don't have the technical knowledge. But in a lot of cases, you'll put in an application to get a pre-approval or something like that, and they'll just run very basic stuff and they'll give you a letter. Or sometimes agents just want the pre-approval very quickly because they want to do showings and send offers.
Right.
So Security National has a little bit of a rap of being slow. You know, I've heard that before I started working with you guys more. That was just a comment that you guys were slow. But once I actually worked with you guys, I understood why that was. Yeah. And it's because you guys verify everything on the front end, which then avoids problems later.
Yeah.
Right. So even though sometimes it's a little bit more tedious up front, it does avoid a lot of those pitfalls, which at the end of the day, if the loan doesn't go through, then it's just a tremendous waste of time.
Exactly.
But it does take certain patience from the agents and the buyers to understand why there's this process that takes longer than usual, if you will.
For sure. And, you know, the funny thing is, when I started in the industry, like I've only ever been able to not close on 2 loans, like my whole time. If I give you a pre-approval, it closes.
It's going through.
It's going through. We close. Unless the appraisal comes in low, something that's completely out of my control.
Unless the buyer cancels.
It's not on you. That. Not on me. But, you know, when it's been on me, it's only happened twice, and they were when I first started, right? And dude, that was like, what happened is an agent was like, dude, here's this client. Let's get him pre-approved. And it was a complex situation with taxes because they were self-employed and they weren't ready. And this realtor was like, yo, like, and I was new. And he was like, I need that pre-approval. And I was like, fine. I finally gave it to them and we didn't close. Like I messed up. And
that's where agents make mistakes because, you know, and it's more common than you would think, but agents pressure lenders like all day long, like crazy. And so, yeah, I mean, when you put yourself in that situation to where your buyer isn't ready, you as an agent have to understand that. And, you know, you have to let the process play itself out. And one of the things that I've learned is you got to let everybody do their job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the lender has to do their job. You're the agent, do your job. Let title do their job. But some agents want to kind of micromanage everything, and I feel like that's a mistake.
Oh, it is. And it's just like, why would you want to do
It's
someone
more work,
else's?
right?
Yeah, it's like so much work. Like, go focus on something else. Like, let the lender do their job.
But that's where I feel like trust comes in.
Yeah.
Where do you trust the other person, right?
For sure.
If I send you a name, if I trust you, I can just let it go.
Yeah.
Because I know that you guys are going to take care of it. It's going to, whatever your process is, you're going to follow it. I don't have to supervise you.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that I've tried to do is the people that I work with is the people that I can trust.
Yeah.
People that I don't feel stressed or feel the need to micromanage. So how do you conceptualize that? How do you build trust with the people that you work with so that they let you do your job and they're not all over you all day?
No, that's a good question. I think, man, I don't even know how to answer that, bro.
Do you think about that? Like, is that something conscious, or is it more like we're just going to do a good job and just whatever happens, happens? I feel
yeah. Like, I think after you close the deal with us, you're like, oh, dang, that was easy.
Yeah.
You know, that was a very good flow. We closed just fine. We're getting referrals from the person we
deals?
closed. Yeah. And so, you know,
that's the biggest compliment, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody has a bad experience, they're not going to refer you to anybody. So I try to gauge it that way too. If I'm getting referrals, if people are making good comments, then I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's a good way to gauge is if people are willing to refer you or not.
For sure, but I'm gonna have to think about that more because you're right. It's all about trust.
It really is. I mean, from all angles, right? It goes the same your way. If you are going to send a lead to an agent, you have to have trust there. You have to know that they're going to follow up. They're going to do the proper things. They're going to send good offers. They're going to negotiate hard. Like, you're not going to waste a lead on an agent that you don't trust.
Yeah.
And so that trust component for me is huge on all aspects, because again, there's so many layers to this transaction that sometimes people don't realize that if there's no trust there, it just doesn't work. From the inspector to the lender to the processing team, the title company, everybody has to be on the same page and trust each other, or it falls apart, or there's misunderstandings, or all of a sudden I'm all over your back, you're all over my back, and then it's like this just doesn't work. So I feel like this industry is very, very based on trust. But again, another layer to you is there's so many lenders, right?
Yeah.
Lenders and agents, they're everywhere.
For sure.
I think there's a stat, the average person knows like 7 realtors. So for you and I feel like one of our big tasks is how do we stand out?
For sure.
Especially in an industry where we're young and most of the big winners are older.
Yeah.
I think the average realtor is like a 57-year-old white woman. Like it's just different, right?
Okay.
So the demographic is just different.
Right.
So how do you view that, and what steps do you take to try to differentiate yourself in a crowded market?
Man, asking some tough questions right now, bro. I definitely need to work on that. I am not the best at that, for sure.
Well, like for example, we have this idea of this networking project, right? Talk to us a little bit about that, because that's something different that people do. Also, I know that you do like buyer classes, first-time buyer classes, and you partner on those. So talk to us a little bit about that, because that's something different that gives you more visibility from a value perspective versus just a traditional marketing perspective.
No, for sure. I think the biggest thing that we try to do to stand out is really try to obtain leads for our agents. You know, like you agents send us leads, but man, we send leads back. Yeah, you know,
which is huge.
Yeah,
by the way,
it's nice, right?
It really is. It really is.
And like, you know, it's pretty cool because one thing that helps me is that my wife is not a realtor. I don't have like my sister, my dad, or something is not a realtor.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. There's no conflict of interest of, I see that. I can see that.
So then like when like our past clients give us a lead, you know, send us a referral, it's going right back to that agent. Yeah.
Sure.
And so that helps, I think, because I can't just like, hey sister, here's this deal, go make it work. No, it's like no, I give them to the agents I work with, and we produce a good amount of leads. So
you guys do. And I think that is important, because there's this idea of make it a win-win. You know, you give, I give.
Yeah.
When with a lot of lenders, it's not like that. It's, you know, they build their business off of getting leads from agents. Mm-hmm. So that's their business model. So they're constantly courting agents to get their business, but there's not a lot of reciprocation on the back end.
Yeah.
Which there's the two models, because if you do it that way, then you're just casting a wide net. You have to get as many realtors as you can.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden you're getting deals from 10, 15 agents, you know, then if you try to then give leads, it's difficult to do that, because you got to spread it around everywhere, and everybody works different. So that's one model that a lot of people follow. The other one is, as a lender, saying, I'm going to try to get my own leads. I'm going to try to get my own biz and build a team of agents that I can trust, even though it's at a smaller quantity. But I feel like when you do it that way, the quality goes up.
For sure.
Because you know the agents that you're working with, there's not that many, you're familiar with each other, and you don't rely on the agents 100% to bring you the business. You can generate it yourself.
No, right? For sure. That's 100%. And like, I've heard a lot of, you know, people in our industry be like, dude, just call realtors. Yeah. Like, call them, get their business. I'm like, nah, dude, that is not what I do. Like, the agents I call, we become homies. Like, we become friends.
And that's how it should be. I mean, you and I had lunch the other day, and I was telling you that's my goal. I mean, my goal is to do business with my friends. Yeah. It just makes it better, dude. Like, and even though your circle is small, but when your circle is small and you trust everyone and everybody is good at what they do, it just works so much better, man. It really does.
And I'm always like hesitant to call, you know, like if I wanted to, I feel like I could call a bunch of realtors and you know, go after their business, and I would get more business. But dude, like scaling in as a lender is not easy, man.
It's not easy. And that's the decision, right? In what basket do you want to put your eggs? Do you want to rely on the agents, make that your model? Yeah. Or do you want to build something that can sustain itself, which I feel is much more valuable, even though it's way more difficult?
It is way more difficult.
Way more difficult.
Definitely. I'm very thankful for the agents I work with, and I would say my business is geared towards that. Even though we do try to produce our own leads, we could always do better at that. But I am like on the side of the working with realtors to refer us business. But you know, we don't work with a lot of realtors. Yeah. You know, I don't call realtors all day. Hey, come on, send me business. Nah, I work with few realtors, and I try to like really bring them a ton of value, because if like it's tough when you're getting so many leads, you're not going to do a good job for anyone.
Of course.
You can't please anyone.
Right.
That's what I learned early. I'm like, I can't be calling 50 realtors and doing a bad job for each of them, you know?
And that's where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Because you have all these people that have different systems, different expectations, different ways of doing things, and it can get messy really quick. But I think it does speak to the broader point of any entrepreneur out there. Be selective about who you work with.
For sure.
And don't just go after everyone and try to be everything for everybody, which I feel like is the easy route that a lot of people take, and they end up falling flat on their face because they're not selective. Mm-hmm. And if you let anybody walk through the door and, you know, take your leads or, you know, whatever it is, you can set yourself up for disappointment.
And yeah, dude. And like when I started, I think when you start, you can't be too selective, honestly. You got to get going. You got to get your business going. Mm. And so I was just working with whoever I could get my hands on. And I was working with this agent. And anytime this person would call my phone, dude, I would like physically hurt, bro. I'd be like, what? Oh, like I'm hurting. Like, I hate talking to this person.
Like you don't want to go in your day-to-day like that. And all of a sudden, you know, you have one agent like that, but what if you had 7?
Exactly.
It's like, this sucks.
Exactly. You know, as we started doing better, I was like, dude, I'm going to work with people I freaking like.
Of course.
Like, I'm done with like getting calls from agents, and I'm like, oh, like in physical pain, because like,
it's tough,
dude, they can be so demeaning, you know, especially when you're new. People treat you like terribly, which is understandable, but
no, it's not understandable, bro.
Actually, it's not. And
here's an ultimatum to agents. You know, me being an agent, just be a good person, dude. Like people, like what I've learned is everybody wants to get the deal done.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it to close. If it doesn't close, you don't get paid. I don't get paid. Title doesn't get paid. Nobody gets paid.
Right.
So nobody wants the deal to fall apart. But, just let people do their job. And it goes back to the same thing. It goes back to, do you trust the person that's across from you? Because if you don't, then I got to demean you. I got to be on you. I got to bully you. I got to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, when that's not my job. Like me as an agent, and I learned this, and I've always tried to put this into play. I am nobody's boss. Mm-hmm. I'm not the lender's boss. I'm not the inspector's boss. I'm not the escrow officer's boss. I'm nobody's boss.
Right.
But some agents feel that way.
Yeah.
Because they bring the lead, or because it's their client.
Sure.
And I feel like that's just a losing formula.
It is, man. We're all on the same team, bro.
We are.
Like, we're all trying to help people, like sincerely help people. Like, I love what I do, because we help people on such a big scale. Like,
you do.
Home,
it's a life-changing situation. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, man, who doesn't want to close on the file we had to close on, And so that's a really good point.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants the same result.
Yeah.
But everybody also has their process.
Sure.
And we all need to respect each other's processes and understand that everybody has a good intention, which is one of the things that I've noticed about you. And I think that one of the reasons why you do well is because you have a good intention.
Yeah.
You can just see it, right? I can tell. I've met hundreds of lenders and people in the industry, and a lot of folks will approach me and court me to give them business, right?
Sure.
But I can tell that I'm just another name on the list, right?
Okay.
So they'll go on the MLS, they'll see who produces more than X number of deals, and they'll start making those calls. And it feels fake. In many cases, it feels fake. I've had lunches where I'm like, this person, it's not there. But with you, it was a completely different vibe. And I think you mentioned it at first, that we have a lot of things in common of, being young in the industry.
Dude,
trying
beard.
to do things differently. We got the facial hair going on.
Lighter.
Yeah, there's just a lot of similarities there. And that's where I think that the value lies in working together, because, I'm big into networking. I have multiple networking groups that I run. You're trying to start one yourself.
Yeah.
I love educating people. You love educating people. So talk to us a little bit about that aspect of what you do and why you find it's valuable.
For sure. I'll start with the networking. I had mentioned to you, I'm starting this network of young Latino entrepreneurs, or I want to call it like the Latino Wealth Project, something along those lines.
I love it.
And it has a lot to do with just bringing people together who are killing it in their respective industries, and then just educating each other more, so that, we can educate the people around ourselves, and then so that we can also create opportunities for each other.
For sure, because there's so many opportunities out there that we sometimes don't know about. You mentioned, bringing in someone that knows a lot about stocks, someone that knows a lot about crypto, someone that knows about insurance or real estate or whatever the case may be. And I feel like there's a big need there. Yeah. Because, we don't learn these things in school. Right. For example, in my case, I didn't finish college. So where do you learn those things? And if you just go to YouTube or you just follow stuff, it's not as in depth. You might make mistakes, especially when you're talking about making investments. Yeah. So I love that idea, because I feel like it's very needed, especially for Hispanics.
For sure, especially for Hispanics. I'm a big fan of this this dude. You already know, Jimmy Rex. I don't know him personally.
He's a great dude. Jimmy's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, and I follow him on Instagram, and he's always posting things like, "Hey, I put an opportunity on my friend. I took a chance on them, and now this business that they started has paid me or has done this for me." And it's like, man, that's what I want. I want those opportunities, and you have to network with people in order. You have to create relationships with them, real relationships. Real relationships.
Because, for example, an example of something that Jimmy has done is, he'll post on his stories, hey, we're building a restaurant. We're bringing in investors who wants in $50,000 a pop. Right. And he'll fund a project in 20 minutes from Instagram. That's the power of networking. Yeah. Right? Or they had a bunch of different units in St. George. I think this was early last year. And he posted it. It was for Airbnbs. Yeah. And I think he sold 60 homes in 24 hours, something insane just from an Instagram post. But it's because there's that network of people that are interested in investing, that,
for sure,
that want to grow their wealth, that want to do it. So being able to create that will make so many opportunities, not only for yourself, but for the people in the room, which I think is where the value lies.
Yeah, man. And I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like people are trying to become investors at an earlier age in life.
That's true.
You know, like nobody just wants to like work a 9 to 5, buy a house and die. You know, it's like, no, like let's get some properties. Like I have some properties. I'm trying to get my investments going. I have a couple rental properties. You know, I'm currently I've invested in a startup business with a friend who. It's funny that we're talking about the Latino Wealth Network I'm trying to get going, because he was the first guy I called. He's my buddy Henry, and smartest guy I know. He's like a professor at the U, teaches business and investing. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to get this network going. Are you down? And he's like, yeah, dude, of course. And guess what? I have a startup coming up.
And that's the cool thing, because people that really win, I've learned this, they want to contribute.
Yeah.
They really do. Like they want to spread knowledge and they want to help people out. And I think, again, if you have the ability to bring all those people and put them in a room, there's no limit to what can happen.
There's no limit, man. And it's like, you know, I'm obsessed with the Latino community. You know, I just like got so much love for my people. Sure. I want to help each other build wealth, you know, so that, you know, we can live the lives we want to live and then help our community to elevate itself. Like that's like one thing I'm very passionate about. And I think this is one thing that I can do, and it helps that I'm a lender and I can look at your taxes and pay stubs and things like that and be like,
help people out.
Hey man, like you're doing really well. What do you do?
Sure.
And then so like you said, I have my friend Henry. He's like this stock genius. Actually, on Thursday nights, we go to his to a clubhouse, and he teaches us about stocks, like in depth, bro. It's super crazy.
Yeah.
And then I have crypto dudes, and then I have people with restaurants, people with car dealerships, real estate cats, people with rentals. And then, man, and what I've noticed about most people, I know quite a bit about taxes just because I have to. When I talk to entrepreneurs about taxes, especially the Latino ones, bro, they don't know anything. We struggle. And I'm like,
I've had my fair struggle with taxes in the past. And yeah, because again, it's these topics that, where do we learn them, bro?
Right.
You know, our parents, you know, maybe first generation immigrants or whatever the case may be. They didn't teach us these things, and you don't learn it in high school. Maybe some went to college or not. So yeah, there's a tremendous gap there. And for example, I've known people that have lost a ton of money in crypto.
Yeah.
And they thought they were going to be billionaires the next week, and they just blew a bunch of money because they didn't know what they were doing. Right.
Yeah.
But the other thing that the Latino has that I think is interesting is that we're chasers, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to go for it because of the way that we grew up, the way that we were raised. You know, or our backgrounds, didn't grow up with much. So we want it. We just sometimes don't know how to get there.
Right.
And that's where I think the value in your project lies.
Yeah. So, no, I completely agree, man. And it's going to be a cool project. It's, you know, the thing that I'm worried about is like, man, I don't just want this to be a place where like, you know, we meet up somewhere like, hey man, what's up? What's your name? You know, it's like, it has to be education focused. You know? Yeah.
And I agree with that. That's one of the things that we've tried to build with our networking platforms. I've been in networking groups where it's just like a party. It's like a lunch and everybody's just like there sitting with their friends.
Right.
And there's not tremendous value there unless you're a very outgoing person. If you're a very outgoing person and you can go shake hands, then cool. But most people are not like that. Most people don't want to meet strangers.
Right.
But if there's a good educational aspect, then I think that makes it more interesting and people actually want to go because they know that they're going to get something in return. They're not just going to sit there and stare at people. Right?
Exactly. And it's like, man, personally, like networking, I've been to plenty of networking events and they're like that. And it's like, dude, I want to be with my fam. Like,
Right.
I work a lot. I want to be with my fam. This isn't enough value for me to be here to justify
to
being
give you
here.
an hour and a half and just sit here and do nothing.
But if there's a cat going over like stocks hard, and then Airbnbs, like, hey, how to have a successful Airbnb business, how to do Turo, how to kill it with Turo or something, you know, something.
Now you're like, okay,
like
I'll stick around for that.
Yeah, I'm sticking around for that, and I'm gonna, you know, there's value here and there's growth opportunities, and above else, you know, I want opportunities for me to invest, you know, my money.
Sure, and also it's try to create the group that you would want to be a part of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I've tried to do with the podcast coalition, with Bagels and Branding. Like, build something that you would go to. Build something that if someone else did it and it wasn't you, that you would attend, that you would be a part of, that you would think is cool. And I think that when you do it that way, you're more motivated because you enjoy your project, and it just ends up being better because you want to provide that value. You're not just looking for leads or looking for clients. You understand that is going to be a byproduct. If you brand yourself, if you bring all these winners in a room, and winners know winners, and you become the mortgage dude of that circle, that's what Jimmy does.
Yeah.
He just has a bunch of really influential friends in a bunch of different industries, and he's the real estate guy in the room. So naturally, it just ends up happening. He just ends up getting deals from people that do very, very well because those are his friends. And he doesn't have to go out and cold call people. He just made himself the real estate dude in his network, and it works.
Man, it works.
It works. So it's the same thing for you. If you have if you know all these people that do well, want to reach out, or are outgoing, you become the mortgage man in that circle. You'll absolutely kill it.
For sure, man. And like what I've noticed when I'm having these conversations with people that like to invite them to be a part of this group, I'm always like, dude, you know, it's a place for like-minded people to get together, build real relationships, build friendships, and just grow. And it's like a lot of people have told me, because a lot of these people I'm reaching out are about my age, and I'm 28. And so relatively younger people that are doing really well. And they're like, man, all my friends are just not there with me, you know?
It's true.
It's
you
like,
separate yourself.
Yeah, you separate, you know, it gets lonelier at the top, right? And so you outgrow people, and it's not easy to find an entrepreneur friend who you can have these conversations with and you enjoy being there. Because like when you start doing better, you start realizing how important your time is.
100%. And
how you can't just give your time to just anyone.
Right.
You know, your friends have to also be uplifting.
Yeah, and your circle gets smaller, right? Because if you're doing well, you're probably busy. I mean, unless you get to those super crazy levels, but most people that are doing well, and when I say doing well, I would say they make under $300,000 a year. You know, maybe they're between that 150 and 300, which is really good.
Yeah.
They're busy peeps.
Yeah.
You know, once you become a bajillionaire, then you can chill on yachts. But most of us, I mean, we're hustling, so we don't have that much time. So it goes back to what you said about these networking groups. Where is it worth it? Where am I going to go sit for an hour and a half plus my commute? It has to be worth it. It absolutely has to be worth it.
It has to be worth it, man. And like, you know, we're just trying to get our yachts too, man.
For sure.
But honestly, this networking, I'm really not trying to get leads from it. Like, I'm not trying to get a bunch of people together who are going to go buy $1 million homes, you know. Not trying to get leads from it. It's just like genuinely trying to help my community. And I feel like bringing a bunch of winners together is how we can do it. And
that's why I think the project has a shot.
Yeah.
Because I get pitched projects all the time of, let's do this group, or let's do this class, or let's do this. But the intent is always to make money.
Yeah.
It's always to make money. Like that's why people do things. And it's not that that's a bad thing, because we're all growing businesses. But when you come at a value proposal first, and you understand that the leads or the clients, whatever, is going to be a byproduct.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're going for. It changes the dynamic. So I've had conversations with people that want to grow networking groups, and I ask them, I'm like, what do you want? Mm-hmm. What do you actually want? And most of the time the answer is, I want to grow my business. Like, AKA I want to make money off of this.
Right.
And if that's the focus, I feel like there's less chance that you'll survive, because it's really hard. I mean, you'll see it. The first couple of events that we had, there was 4 people in the room. Like nobody cared, dude.
Right.
Nobody cared. Like the podcast coalition, nobody cared for 6 months.
Okay.
And then slowly people start to come. But if I'm going to this event trying to get leads and I do 4 events and I don't get any leads because there's 8 people in the room and 3 of them are my family, you start to get discouraged.
Oh, for sure.
And you start to be like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'm trying to build value, I believe in my project, I know that people just have to know about it and they'll show up, then it's different. I mean, we had like 60 people yesterday here for the podcast coalition, because you just start and you believe in the project and you're not looking to cash out right away. You're just trying to make friends that can then give you a shot to convert something if the opportunity presents itself, right?
No, for sure. And I mean, worst case scenario, you just got a new friend.
You just got a new friend.
And it's a fun time, man.
And I feel like relationships are underrated.
Yeah.
Like quality relationships.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and you said it, when you can hit up a buddy and go grab lunch and have a constructive conversation where you can learn something or they're doing something different, like that is underrated. I feel like we, especially after this whole pandemic thing, we need more quality human connection.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Not just going to raves and stuff, but like quality conversations with good, uplifting people that you leave that lunch and you feel good. You're like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're pleased.
Yeah.
And dude, like when you have kids and a wife, like it's not that easy to just go out and like get
tough. Yeah.
Quality relationships.
For sure.
You know?
If you're going out to dinner every night, it's be like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, man.
So, but it goes back to the same thing. You got to be selective, right?
Yeah, you got to be selective.
And you got to have those core friends. So for all those entrepreneurs out there, think about that. Think about, making friends that are in the same boat as you, even if they're not in the same industry. I found a lot of value in that. People that are trying to grow, and I'll always use this podcast group because it's easy to understand, but we're all trying to grow our show. We're all trying to reach more people. So we all have a common goal, and we all come together to try to get better at our specific thing. Some people have podcasts of all sorts of different topics, but we're all on the same boat is basically what I'm trying to get at. And when you make friends that are on the same boat as you, I feel like it improves your quality of life.
Oh, definitely. Man, I'm going to have to start a podcast, bro.
Do it, bro.
Dude, this is fun, dude. It's a good time.
I love it.
You get to learn a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always down to learn. That's the thing.
And I think that's super important. Never feeling that you know everything, because you never do.
Dude.
But to wrap up, Eddie, talk to us a little bit about, and I'd like to get your take. I always ask the guests that come on the show the same question, and it's to give me your top 3 tips. And it would be, give me your top 3 tips to someone that is in their late 20s, maybe doesn't really know what to do. Maybe they've been invited to a thing here or there, but like they want to build something. Maybe they're not liking their job too much, but they just don't have too much direction or motivation. What would you say to somebody that is in that situation?
Freak, man, I think the number one thing is you got to take some risks. You got to take some calculated risks. Do not be afraid, with that one thing. Don't be afraid to be dumb, man, to look dumb, to feel dumb. I think the more you know about a subject, you realize you know nothing about it.
That's true.
And that will lead you to become an expert and to do well at what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I used to work a 9-to-5 job. A lot of people think a loan officer is a 9-to-5 job. It ain't.
It's not, bro.
It ain't. Like I'm there from like 9 to 7 to 8.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not a 9-to-5 because nobody, I've never received a lead from my bank once.
Yeah.
Not once. Everything I've been able to accomplish has been me, networking, marketing, doing my thing to generate business. And so I very much feel like an entrepreneur, although maybe I might not be classified as one, but I feel like I am because...
I would say you are.
Yeah, I am. All right, whatever. And so I am an entrepreneur. It's a business. It's my business. I don't have a boss. I mean, I have my 2 bosses, but they're a lot like mentors. They give me really good advice.
They're not on your back all day.
They're not like, Eddie, you need to be at work. Like I don't have a schedule. It's all me. And so I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but
no, this is great.
My 9-to-5 job that I used to have was a really good job, but it was so safe, dude. So safe, you know? And it paid okay. I thought it paid I thought it paid well at the time, you know? And so then I was going to have a baby, you know? My son was coming, and I was like, dude, I got to take a risk, cuz how am I going to be able to afford to pay for my house and bills, and my wife's gonna not be working?
Changes everything. I
got to take a risk, and I took a risk, and I became a loan officer. And the number one thing is take a risk, bet on yourself, like bet on yourself hard, and work hard. You know, I've heard some lenders in my office be like, man, I want to do as much as you, I want to kill it like you, bro. You're here from 9 to 5. You know, you're here from 10 to 5, dude. I'm here all day, man. Yeah. You know, I don't go home until I feel satisfied, like, of my day's work.
And that's the separator.
Yeah, that's the separator, man. That's the only thing. Separator, for sure. And then so risk, work hard. Working hard is so underrated. And
it really is.
And I hate how people are getting on Kim Kardashian right now. Have you seen that? How everybody's hating on her. Bro, she's right.
She's right. You know, it all comes down to hard work. Yeah. But I feel like it's a lot of this culture of don't work hard, work smart. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which it's like people are trying to find ways to work less.
To
work as little as possible, which I kind of understand the dynamic of trying to maximize or whatever, but it's like you said, you got to put in the hours. You know, I'm training right now for a boxing match. Whoever trains the most hours is probably going to win that fight. Like it just comes down to who was in the gym longer.
Right.
You know, if I just go in for 45 minutes every other day and just wing it and go home, you get my ass kicked. You know what I mean? And then if the other dude's in there for 3 hours, I mean, and Kobe Bryant talks a lot about this, like whoever puts in the most hours over time, that compound interest, you're going to be so far ahead
for sure
that people aren't going to be able to catch up no matter how hard they go.
Dude, and I feel like that all the time because, like, I'll have a client that will come in who would have just talked to a seasoned loan officer and be like, hey, they couldn't make it work, you know, this and this. I'm like, well, let's see, and I make it work, and they close on their house and they're happy, and I get business, and so that's always nice to see.
Yeah, because you become a problem solver, right?
For sure, and it's just like I work hard, man. I worked hard to learn all this stuff, you know, and that helps. So back with Kim Kardashian, dude, I thoroughly believe she works hard. She's worked hard her whole life.
Yeah, I think people just have a grudge against people that are privileged. You know what I mean? But it doesn't take away the hard work. I mean, people that, like, for example, there's a famous comedian. His name's Franco Escamilla, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he talks about it all the time. And he talks about how he works hard. Like, he's from city to city, and he's, you know, sleeping in hotel rooms. And when he was first getting started, and he didn't see his family for weeks because he was trying to go to this bar and that bar, trying to see who would give him a shot. It's just hard work, man. It wasn't just like, I'm going to upload a video and just chill. Like, he was everywhere knocking on doors saying, hey, like, just give me a 30-minute spot. I'll perform for free. Like, it doesn't matter. And he did that for years until he popped. It's not. And so the point that I'm trying to get to is even people that are rich or celebrities or whatever, they still work super hard. If you look at the lives of actors, you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has talked about this. Like, he's on set all day long.
Right, dude.
All day for months at a time, just like stuck on a set. And I feel like a lot of people fail to realize that just because they have money.
Yeah.
But it's hard work.
Dude, shout out to Kim Kardashian, though. Hopefully she hits us up and like, hey, thanks for defending me, man.
Of course.
The third thing, you know, and I'm trying to figure this out myself, just balance your life, you know.
Which is hard to do because we're just talking about hard work.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is hard to do. And I think I'm not talking about your day-to-day. I'm talking about your entire life. Like, dude, you're young. My kids are young. I'm trying to bust my butt so that I'm there for them, you know, so I build something good enough so that I'm there for them when they really need me to be there for them.
Of course.
And so it's like, you know, maybe I'm working hard right now, but I might be, you know, if I play my cards right, my investments go well, my business does well, you know, I'm gonna have a more balanced life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, balancing your day to day is one thing, but balancing, you know, when you're gonna have to work hard, when you can chill, you know, I don't think it just goes back to working hard, man.
Yeah.
It's just,
And I feel like the harder you work over time, then you get to a place, it's not immediate, but you eventually get to a place where you can take that time.
Yeah.
You can go on that trip. You can, you know, take a day off. You can do those things, but there is a strong foundation underneath.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I've had people try to do it the reverse. Like they want to be an entrepreneur and have complete time freedom on day one. And that's just not real.
no.
You know, it might take you 6 or 7 years before you can do that. Before, for example, like I've been in Disney World sitting on a bench writing offers. And my family was doing their thing. Like they don't have to worry about work because they have their jobs. And so they get their days off and they're just chilling. So they're going on rides and stuff. And like I'm sitting there typing stuff and it's hard work. You know? And the goal is to eventually get to a place where I don't have to do that. But the point is you might have to at first.
For sure.
It's just part of the game.
And dude, I think I attribute a lot of my success to my wife.
Oh, absolutely. So do I.
Because she's not like, you're never here, you're never home, you don't do this, you don't do that. She knows that, like, I have a stressful job, I work all day, and I come home, and she's not, like, on me.
Yeah.
You know?
She
and
understands.
it's so huge because I have a lot of homies who their wives don't let them progress, you know? And it's like, man, I want to progress, but my wife is going to be on me, yelling at me. And so, and it can be vice versa too. Like if you're a woman entrepreneur and you know, you have, you know, that balance that you're working so hard and you know, maybe your husband can take care of other things for you, you know, same thing, but
yeah, it's learning that dynamic, but I completely agree that your partner has to support your goals, you know, and your goals should be aligned.
For sure.
Should be working for the same thing. That's one of the things that I talk to Leslie about all the time. Like, we have the same goals, but to get to that goal, we have different tasks within that.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean? So I'm out trying to, you know, build, trying to, you know, make the money, pay the bills, build a company. And then she has her tasks and she does her things. And so it's getting to a place where you can do separate things for the same common goal. I feel like if you can get there, I think that's kind of the sweet spot. But yeah, a lot of people struggle with that.
yeah, and it's like, man, my accomplishments are my wife's accomplishments. Her accomplishments are mine.
Yeah, because you're on the same
It's
boat.
gotta be like that. Yeah, you guys are a team.
Of course. Like if you fail, I fail, and vice versa. Like if I don't work and I fail, like we're not keeping this house, bro. Like you got a nice truck, but you got a nice car or whatever. But that's if I don't pull this off, it's not gonna last very long. Like we're not gonna get to where we want to. And when they understand that, they kind of let you do your thing because they trust you that you can pull it off, right? And that they're going to obviously receive a benefit from that, which is fine.
Yeah, no, shout out to my wife. Shout out to our wives.
Shout out, wives.
Because, you know, I think, you know, we're doing well, and it's a lot of it is because of them. Sure. So definitely got to give them their credit.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, Eddie, this has been a tremendous conversation. Anything that you'd like to add before we go?
No, I mean, I think it's cheesy to like ask for business on here.
No, pitch yourself. That's actually my next question. Where can people find you? Where can people plug into you?
Sure. On Instagram, Utah's Lone Boy. You can, you can find my information on there. My cell phone's on there. You guys can reach out to me at any time if you have any loan questions. If you feel like, you know, dude, if any of you went to a credit union, come talk to me, please. Come talk to me. I'll approve you for way more. Everything will be much better. Not just but yeah, hit me up, and you know, we take good care of our clients, so we take a lot of pride in that.
Absolutely, guys. I've seen it firsthand. So hit up Eddie if you have any questions. It's always good to just have the information, you know, whether you feel like you want to buy now, whether you're kind of thinking about it or you want to refi, see your options. It's always good to talk to a professional to get that info. and then you can make the best decision for you. So guys, hit up Eddie, Utah's Loan Boy, on Instagram. We'll put it all in the show notes, phone number and everything. But hit him up. This has been another episode of the Ask Tony Show. Till next time.